Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. In my previous lesson, we talked about the listening skill. Today, we are moving on to the third language skill, which is reading. I will move further by explaining what reading is. Have you ever read a book? What did you see in the book? I believe you saw written symbols. You saw words, you saw vocabulary. You saw many interesting facts from reading. So what is reading? When you read, you see written symbols and you get meaning from them. The intention of picking up a book to read is to get meaning, to comprehend what you are about to read. And so that is simply what reading is all about. Reading is the process of looking at series of written symbols and getting meaning from them. Whether you're reading a magazine, a short story, or any points of interest in any book. What do you get from it? You get facts, you get opinions, you get many meanings when you read. So, when you read, you get to see written symbols and get meaning from whatever you're reading. And something is particular about reading. We read with our eyes. Just like the listening skill, we listen with our auditory organ. So when we read with our eyes to receive the written symbols earlier talked about. What are these written symbols? It talks about letters, it talks about punctuation marks, it talks about the spacing in each paragraph. What else do we need when we read? We need our brain. What does our brain do? It converts the words into sentences and paragraphs. And that communicates something to us. So remember what I said? Reading is the act of processing series of written symbols and getting meaning from them. Written symbols equals to meaning. So anytime you pick up a book to read, be sure that there are written symbols in it. Not just that you are able to achieve your meaningful goal when you read it. So, what is also reading? Reading is regarded to as a receptive skill. Why do we call it a receptive skill? We receive information when we read. Remember, I said in my last video about listening. Reading is a receptive skill. Why do we regard it as a receptive skill? Through it, we receive information. When you pick up a book, a magazine, a short story, you receive information. Your receptive skill, your receptive organs are at work to accept any form of information you intend to gain from whatever you read. It is also a productive skill. What do I mean by being a productive skill? Because we both receive and we both transmit what has been said, even to any other person who wishes to listen to what you're saying. Reading is a receptive and also a productive skill. You can see why the brain is at its optimal function anytime you tend to read. So let's move on to the importance of reading. Other skills discussed earlier in my previous video. We discussed the importance of speaking and the importance of listening. Reading facilitates so many things in us. It facilitates the comprehension of various texts, as well as their contents and influence. Importance of reading. We have tried to explain what reading is all about. So we are moving on to the importance. Why do we read? It facilitates the comprehension of various texts, as well as their contents and inference. When we read to comprehend what is in the book, what is in the story, what is in the text. So when you read various texts, what do we get from it? We tend to find meaningful things that we can talk about or express to others. Another aspect or importance of reading is it improves your general literacy, because they can improve our vocabulary, our speech analysis, and communication. Look at this. So the first importance is it facilitates comprehension. I've explained that. The other, it helps to improve literacy. It helps to improve general literacy. And when your literacy level increases or improves, there will be improvements in your use of vocabulary, your speech analysis, like I said earlier, and your communicative abilities. Also, reading helps you to avoid misunderstanding in your personal and professional interactions. When you read, it helps you to avoid misunderstanding. So many misunderstandings, miscalculations, or misinformation will be eliminated when you're a reader. So, anytime you read, remember this importance. Another one is it reduces stress and helps us to relax. When you read, your stress level reduces. It helps you to relax. That's why people read for different reasons. So, it improves also your concentration and memory. When you read, your concentration level increases. You're able to concentrate on what you are reading and also keep it in memory for future use, for future purposes. Another benefit is it strengthens your writing abilities. When you're a reader, it strengthens your abilities, because when you are asked to transcribe what you have read, you are able to do so logically and coherently. So, it also increases our imagination and creativity. When you read, your imaginative ideas level becomes wider. Not just wider, your creative ability too comes up. So when you read, make sure you notice all this henceforth when you are reading. Your creative ability becomes wider, it increases, and your imaginative ability too increases. Because what your brain transmits to you, interprets to you, your brain creates an imaginative idea, and so you're able to put it into profitable action. Also, it's not just your brain. It's not just your brain in the sense that It develops ideas, open to hearing to the opinion of others. We've seen artists with a lot of creative abilities. They first read, they imagine it, and able to put it into concrete ideas. So, have you read a book? Have you discovered all these improvements for the past years you have been reading? As reading facilitates your comprehension? Has it improved your general literacy? Has it helped you to avoid misunderstanding in your personal and professional interactions? It is often said that readers are leaders. So pick a book today and make sure you read wide. As you're reading, your brain is interpreting. Your brain is increasing in its creative abilities. It's strengthening your writing abilities as well. We are moving on with the study on reading. We are moving on to another subtopic on the reading. That is the 4 types of reading techniques. You must have been noticing these techniques when you read, but maybe you've not paid attention to what they really mean. So, the first one we'll be considering now is skimming. Skimming. When you skim, what do you do? When you skim, what do you do? It simply refers to understanding the gist or main idea of what you're reading. Skimming refers to as gist reading. You know, when you gist orally with your friends, it can also be applied to when you read. For instance, you pick up a book and you just want to look at it. You don't want to go through the chapters. You don't want to go through the acts or scenes. What do? You flip through the pages just to get the main idea, to have an idea of what reading the book is all about. So what do most times? You glance over it. You glance over the material so as to grasp the main idea. I'm sure you must have been noticing that most of us do that a lot, especially when we don't have much time on our hands. Okay, just want to go through the book. So, in that occasion or in that type of situation, what you are doing is skimming, just to get the main gist. And this experience prepares you for a deeper learning, which you might come back to an hour later or days after. The second reading technique, like you can see from the board, is scanning. What do you do when you scan when reading? It simply means this is a type of reading that helps you to search for specific information, specific words or phrases that will give you more information and answer to questions you may have. So when you pick up a book, aside the skimming aspect, the scanning aspect talks about looking for specific ideas. You are looking for specific words that will lead you and answer the questions you might have about a particular book you're reading. So, make sure you do that when you don't have much time to read a particular story in a book or a novel. The third type of reading technique is intensive reading. This is a whole lot type of technique. Intensive is reading for details. You read to understand every detail. in whatever type of genre of text you're reading. So, this is carried out when we aim to have an idea and have a clarity in mind about a particular book. It is a time that requires your attention. It's a type of reading that requires full, detailed attention. It is usually called close reading. You are reading to understand the detail. So it requires a lot of attention. It requires detailing of every information received from the book. So, next time you're reading, you have a whole lot of time. You need to transcribe a particular text. You should go for this type of reading technique, which is intensive. Another example of an intensive reading technique could be when you're in examination, you read every detail so as to get answers to every question. The fourth one is the extensive form of reading. This is it, the extensive technique. Well, what do we do when we are reading extensively? This particular one is like the opposite of the intensive. You are reading, but you are reading for pleasure. You are reading for enjoyment. You are not mandated to read it, either for exams or for transcribing a particular script. It involves reading for pleasure, enjoyment, just for fun. So, here it emphasizes more on fluency, just to have a general understanding. We read it to have a general knowledge in every aspect of every form of human activity or human endeavor. It could be sports, it could be any other discipline that is different from what you do. Could be journalism, could be engineering. For example, a learner who belongs to the arts may decide to, pick up an engineering textbook and just want to have a glance through to what really engineering is all about. So you are reading outside your domain. You are reading outside your field of knowledge. You are reading outside what you already know. It's like just having an additional knowledge to help you boost your brain or to boost your learning activity. So let's move briefly into what I've said earlier. Remember, we discussed what reading is a process of written symbols translated into meaningful thoughts and ideas. Anytime you read, make sure you get some meaningful facts from what you're reading. It's your brain that processes it. That's why we call a reading skill as a receptive and a productive skill. It's an active skill. Your brain is involved. Your mind is also involved. We talked about the importance of reading. Reading helps to improve your vocabulary. Because when you read, you meet with a wide range of vocabulary, ranging from different registers, different disciplines, different opinion and ideas. So you meet with them, and before you know it, you're already using it in your day-to-day speech activities. So reading surely improves your vocabulary. It reduces stress. You are stressed after the day's job, get a book, relax, and you discover that your stress level reduces. It also helps you in your professional life. You're an engineer, you're a doctor, You're a plumber, any form of profession you belong, surely reading is an aspect that needs to be taken into full consideration. It also helps in comprehension. Anytime you read, your intention is to gain a meaningful idea or opinion from it. We also talked about the 4 reading techniques, which are skimming, scanning, intensive form of reading, and extensive form of reading. All these combined together, we make use of them. We make use of them in reading. Anytime you're reading, it's either you're skimming or scanning, reading intensively or reading extensively, depending on the time you have on your hand. And we said what skimming is all about. Skimming is used to understand the gist or main idea. You just want a main idea. You flip through the pages of book or chapters, you discover that, okay, I need to get this. I need to understand what it's all about. Sometimes when you get a book, you discover that some turn it to the back to read the brief description of the author's speech. From there, you know what it's all about, what the book is all about. You scan when you read to find a particular piece of information. Also, when you practice extensive reading, this is a type of reading used for pleasure. It's a type of reading that is used just reading to get general understanding. Another type, which is the last, is an intensive. What do you do for intensive? This is a detailed type of reading. It requires your rapt attention. It requires every form of attention and detailing. So you must read it, understand it, and be able to relate with it. So I believe you have learned 1 or 2 things about what reading is all about. Henceforth, when you pick up a book, you can make use of all the skills depending on your occasion, on the time in your hand. You can make use of the skimming, you can scan it, you can read extensively or intensively. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel for more details and for more explanation on the language skills. Keep reading, keep learning, and keep improving. See you in my next video. Bye.